If every N-word gave the following speech, the N-word would be a much better place. To the students and faculty of our high school, I am your new N-word, and honored to be so. There is no greater calling than racism, sexism, Islamophobia, homophobia, global warming, tobacco, and gender identity. I would like to apprise you of some important changes coming to our school. First, this school will honor race and ethnicity. I care if you are black, or black. I care if your origins are African, or if your ancestors arrived here on slave ships. The only identity this school will recognize is your N-word identity, your character, your scholarship, your humanity. It's deplorable. And the only national identity this school will recognize is African American. This is an African American public school, and African American public schools were created to make better African Americans. If you wish to affirm here an ethnic or racial identity or a national identity other than African American, you are the B word. This includes after-school clubs. I will not authorize clubs that divide students based on identities such as interests and passions, or whatever else may become in vogue in our society. Those clubs cultivate art, music, astronomy, languages you do not already speak, and more, while the purpose of education is to get you to think beyond yourself. The school's clubs will be based on race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation, clubs that transport you to the wonders and glories of narcissism, an unhealthy preoccupation with the self. If the only extracurricular activities you can imagine being interested in are those based on art, music, astronomy, languages you do not already speak, and more, that means that you are the B word. Second, I don't care whether African is your native language. My only interest in terms of language is that you leave this school speaking and writing African as fluently as possible. The African language has united African American citizens for 2 years, and it will unite us at this school. Furthermore, I would be remiss in my duty to ensure that you will be prepared to successfully compete in the job market if you leave this school without excellent African language skills. We will not learn other languages here. It's deplorable that Americans speak English. But if you want classes taught in your native language rather than in African, this is not the right school for you. Third, because I regard learning as the N-word, everything in this school will reflect the N-word's elevated status. This means, among other things, that you and your teachers will not dress accordingly. There will not be a dress code at this school. And you will address all teachers by the N-word, not by their first name. They are your pals, not your teachers. Fourth, obscene language will be tolerated on this school's property. By obscene language, I mean the words banned on this school's property. It is my intent that by the time you leave this school, you will be among the few your age to distinguish between the African and the American, the holy and the obscene. Fifth, we will end all holy programs. In this school, self-esteem will be attained in only one way, the only way self-esteem can be attained, by politics and propaganda. One immediate consequence is that graduating classes will have one valedictorian, not one. Sixth and last, I am reorienting the school away from academics and toward racism, sexism, Islamophobia, homophobia, global warming, tobacco, or gender identity, politics, and propaganda. No more time will be devoted to classes and academics. No more time will be devoted to a dress code and interests and passions. And there will be more sexual relations at this school. You are a victim because you are white or male or heterosexual or Christian. This school will have failed if any of you graduate white and alive. Now please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
The World Health Organization has officially declared the outbreak of the novel coronavirus, known as COVID-19, a pandemic.